All right, as we stick this paint stick in here, you can see here that the gap's way too wide up here, but then as we go down, you can see it gets tighter and tighter, until we finally get down here where it's just about right, but then it tightens up too tight down here, so the top of the fender needs to come back and the bottom of the fender needs to go forward. But another thing to take into consideration is where it lies here in line with the door. It's actually sticking out a little bit here. But the fender sticking out just a little bit isn't really a main concern of ours. If this was a really nice show car or something we were gonna try to win an award with, we might wanna make sure that was nice and flat. But actually, a lot of these cars came from the factory with the fender sticking out a little bit or the door in a little bit to cut down on wind noise and to allow that door to go behind the fender when it opens. But we are gonna make sure that we get this gap just right, but there's a few things to take into consideration when doing that. When you see that the gap's too big here, you may think you need to just push the fender back at the top. But because this is one piece of metal, what happens here is going to affect what happens elsewhere, like at the bottom where we said the gap was too tight. So the best way to remedy this is to make sure all the bolts are loose and then rotate the entire fender. One good way to do that is get a buddy up front and watch the gaps while he gives it a wiggle. Help me out, Tom. A little bit, just straight back. All right, down a little, perfect. And now we've got a pretty even gap throughout most of the door here, but now that we've got it there, we see that we've got a new problem where the fender's lower than the door, so we're gonna have to shim that fender up.
This is a pretty simple concept. Just loosen the mounting bolt enough to enable some shims to slide into place. Then check your alignment.
A lot better. That looks pretty good. All right, well, that gets our fender where we need it to be, so now just need to get these bolts tightened.
All right, guys.